Why am I so ugly? Coming up next on Pastor Bob Daily. Well, I got an interesting request from A.P. Wolf. And he said, why don't you do a podcast on why you're so ugly? Well, I thought that's a reasonable request. Usually I let those go. But, I'd like to do this one, honestly, because this has been an issue for me. And I'd like to talk about it, and especially for all of those of you who, this is an issue. Honestly, I'm not doing this because I want you to write in and say, oh, Pastor Bob, you're not that ugly, or I think you're wonderful, or we're all beautiful in God's eyes. And please don't write all those comments, because that's not the reason I'm doing this. The reason I'm doing it is because I think we all go through issues in our lives. I remember growing up, the most beautiful woman in the world was considered to be Marilyn Monroe. And man, people loved her. And a lot of guys had her picture on their wall, or especially if you were in gas stations, the guys that worked on cars in the back always had Marilyn Monroe on the wall. And she was considered the most beautiful woman in the world. And I remember one time they asked her, if you could change something about yourself, what would you change? You know what she said? Everything. She said, when I look in the mirror, I see the most ugly person. Interesting, isn't it? And the older you get, the more you realize that looks really have very little to do with anything. And I used to really struggle with self-image because, I've never been the most good-looking guy. I never have been, which is okay. And I think that now that I'm older and I look at people who are pretty good-looking, I realize that they have a whole different set of problems that I'm glad I don't have. But I shouldn't say problems, difficulties. But the image that we have really isn't our image, but it's God's image. And when I realize that I'm made in the image of Him, which doesn't matter what I look like on the outside, it's what I radiate from the inside, then everything begins to change. And what we take so much time and care to look good on the outside really doesn't make any difference, because in the end, what people are attracted to is you. Not you what you look like, but you what you are from the inside. And people who are confident, people who are at peace with who they are, people who are in love with Jesus honestly, and that love radiates, those are the most attractive people in the world. Why am I so ugly? I have no idea. But I know that Christ in me is beautiful. God bless you. Have a great day.